decade full of dreams, and he takes her to a schooner, and he treats her like a queen, bearing beads from California with their amber stones and green. He has called her from the harbor, he has kissed her with his freedom, he has heard her off to starboard in the breaking and the breathing of the water weeds, and she's so busy being free. There's a man who's climbed a mountain and he's calling out her name, and he hopes her heart can hear 3,000 miles he calls again. He can think her there beside him, he can miss her just the same. He has missed her in the forest while he showed her all the flowers, and the branches sang the chorus as he, while she was somewhere being free. There's a man who sent a letter and he's waiting for reply. He has asked her of her travels since the day they said goodbye. He writes, wish you were beside me, we can make it if we try. He has seen her at the office with her name on all his papers, through the sharing of the profits. He will find it hard to shake her from his memory, and she's so busy being free. There's a lady in the city and she thinks she loves them all. There's the one who's thinking of her, there's the one who sometimes calls, there's the one who writes her letters with his facts and figures scrawled. She has brought them to her senses, they've laughed inside her laughter. Now she rallies her defenses, for she fears that one will ask her for eternity, and she's so busy being free. There's a man who sends her medals, he is bleeding from the war. There's a jouster and a jester and a man who owns a store. There's a drummer and a dreamer, and you know there may be more. She will love them when she sees them, they will lose her if they follow, and she only means to please them, and her heart is full and hollow like a cactus tree, while she's so busy being free. Like a cactus tree, being free.
Scared I'm gonna break that string.
roll their awnings down. The milk trucks make their morning rounds in morning Morgantown. We'll rise up early with the sun to ride the bus while everyone is yawning and the day is young in morning Morgantown. Morning Morgantown, buy your dreams $1 down. Morning any town you name, morning's just the same. We'll find a table in the shade and sip our tea and lemonade and watch the morning on parade in morning Morgantown. Ladies in their rainbow fashions, colored stop and go lights flashing, will wink as total strangers pass in morning Morgantown. Morning Morgantown, buy your dreams $1 down. Morning any town you name, morning's just the same. I'd like to buy you everything, a wooden bird with painted wings, a window full of colored rings in morning Morgantown. But the only thing I have to give to make you smile, to win you with are all the mornings still to live in morning Morgantown. Morning Morgantown, buy your dreams $1 down. Morning any town you name, morning's just the same. Aren't you glad you came? Morning Morgantown.
based on a short story that I learned in school by O. Henry called The Gift of the Magi, except I always called it The Gift of the Magi because I liked that better. So The Gift of the Magi, or The Gift of the Magi, was taken and sort of Reader's Digest condensed into a poem. And when I had it in satisfactory poem shape, I set it to music, and it came out in the form of an operetta. And it has a part for me, or a part for a girl, and a part for a fellow, and a part for a whole chorus full of sisters, cousins, and aunts. Unfortunately, I was the only one who showed up tonight, so...
She
love sunshine song. And this one takes place in the city, so it's a little bit noisier. It's all about living in the Chelsea district of New York, which was really a nice place to live until Andy Warhol made a movie about Chelsea girls and gave us all a bad reputation.
Out of reach, out of cry. store window trees. My dreams with the seagulls fly out of reach, out of cry. Out of the city and down to the seaside, to sun on my shoulders and wind in my hair. But sandcastles crumble and hunger is human, and humans are hungry for worlds they can't share. My dreams with the seagulls fly out of reach, out of I call to the seagull who dives to the waters and catches his silver fine dinner alone, crying, where are the footprints that danced on these beaches, and the hands that cast wishes that sunk like a stone. My dreams with the seagulls fly out of reach, out of This is sort of a common modern day fairy tale. I had a king in a tenement castle. Lately he's taken to painting the pastel walls brown. He's taken the curtains down. He swept with the broom of content, and the rooms have an empty ring. He's cleaned with the tears of an actor who fears for the lavish sting. I can't go back there anymore. You know my keys won't fit the door. You know my thoughts don't fit the man. They never can. They never can. I had a king dressed in drip dry and paisley. Lately he's taken to saying I'm crazy and blind. He lives in another time. Ladies in ginghams still blush while he sings them of wars and wine. But I, in my leather and lace, I can
Thank you. A while ago I saw a very beautiful underground film called Vallie. And since I saw the film, I've met some people who really knew Vallie because it was a movie about her as a person. She'd had a very strange career. She left Melbourne, Australia at about 17. She threw herself into what they called a red fit because she had lots and lots of thick red hair. And at 17 she was running around, having red-headed fits all over the place. And one day she had one and she said, I'm leaving this silly dance school because you're not teaching me anything and you're not letting me dance the way I want to, and I'm going off to Europe and I'm going to become famous any way I can. So at 17 she had eyes all focused on stardom, and she went off to Europe and fell in on the beatnik thing, I guess that was at the time. Whoops, there was one pick. She got involved in the bohemian thing in Paris, and finally she behaved so badly, according to the people of Paris, with witchcraft and all, that she was kicked out of Paris. They did it very politely by refusing to renew her passport. So she could have been really depressed, and the movie goes into that. She said that she was very low then and she didn't want to even live. But she met a guy named Rudy, which is very strange. So Rudy and Vallie moved off to a little island in Italy, and there she lives with a lot of animals, and she's very like an animal herself because she's very agile and she climbs all through caves, and she's really a wonderful person in spite of herself. And also she thinks she's very evil. She knows what she's doing. People want a type child, and the one time that she did come back from her island, she appeared in concert with Donovan in England and danced so beautifully, and everybody flipped out, and she was approached by all sorts of people who offered her contracts and scared her back off to her island again. And I wrote a little song about her, and it was just sitting around with one verse finished on it one day, and I suddenly noticed that strange things were happening. People were capitalizing on people like Vallie and making them into sort of living commercials. So I thought if anybody was going to make a commercial out of my song to Vallie, it should be me. Does anyone have a flat pick? Good. Ooh, that's really a little one. I hope I can hold on to it. Down in the garden, under a leaf, she was smoking her keef and she was looking at stardom. Everything's bright as she draws on the pipe and the bowl always redder. Sapphire, it burns with the blue fire, colors run through me. Losing my thinking, they're flashing and blinking, they're always changing, rearranging. Ballerina, ballerina, lead me through your crimson dances. Caragana, red bandana, lead me down your silver trances. Down in the garden, under an oak, she was drinking her coke and she was looking at stardom. Everything's bright and she draws on the pipe and the bowl was redder. Things look better with Coca-Cola. I'm finally going to make a record. I just signed my contract with Reprise. That's Reprise, not Reprise. I learned how to say it right, too. And it should be coming out sometime this spring. It should be kind of fun, too, because it's sort of a story. It's going to be called Song to a Seagull, which is a story, and all of the songs which make up the record repeat that story. And in the part where we take you down to the seaside, it's It's called Out of the City and Down to the Seaside section of the record. Some very strange stories of the sea happen, and among them is a song that I wrote about. Well, I don't really know what it's about. It's almost like suddenly in a song a character appeared to me that should be a dominant character someday in an operetta. And so because it was sort of like a lead character in an operetta, I took liberty with Gilbert and Sullivan and stole a part of their title. I call this The Pirate of Penance. I hope you like bad puns too. Anchored on a Wednesday, and why he came to port I wonder, to see a lady, so my friends say. She dances for the sailors in a smoky cabaret bar underground, down in the cellar in a harbor town. I know he told her love was treasure, and they would reap the fullest bounty. He only comes to port for pleasure. So when the winds of morning blew the curtains and she woke and found he'd gone, I saw his sails unfurling Thursday dawn. The pirate he will sink you with a kiss, he'll steal your heart and sail away. He'll leave you drowning in the flotsam of a broken promise in the bay. He came again to see me, yes, I think he told me they was Saturday. I was at sea then, I didn't sleep then. I don't believe what you are saying. It isn't true, I hardly knew him. Is this some game that you are playing? Well, ask the dancer, she's the one who saw him last, the one who drew him here. He hasn't come to me since spring last year. There was a time when he would bring me silks and sandalwood and Persian lace, and he would hold me close and tell me sailing stories by the fireplace. I was at sea, I tell you, I was nowhere near the mentioned murder place. Go ask the dancer, she knows the answer. Switch into Fort Lauderdale standard tuning here. I had the fortune or the misfortune to get a chance at writing a theme song for a Canadian public affairs program. And I thought it would be a good time to write a song that I could say some things that were on my mind in, and I had to say it in a very quiet way so as not to upset people, you know, and I thought, well, it's got to be subtle enough that they won't understand what I'm trying to get across. But it's got to be simple enough that a lot of people can understand what I'm trying to say. So I was imported all the way from Los Angeles up to Toronto to do the New Year's Eve program, which was really dreadful. I must admit, it was just dreadful. And the reason it was so dreadful was because, you know, I made a few compromises. I was told not to let them put arrangements with me. And I should have I should have gone along with the people who told me to do that, but I didn't, because the arranger gave me a big long sob story about how he tried to transcribe my music from the tuning so that he could work with it, and I really had sympathy for him there. And so he said, well, gee, I've got all these string parts, and he showed me all these pieces of paper, and I knew he must have worked on it a long time, so I said, okay. And then I went back after I'd done all of my filming for the day, and that time it was about 9 o'clock, and the show went on the air at 10, so I sort of curled up in my motel room to watch the proceedings. Well, first of all, I began the show. I think the arranger mixed it because the orchestra was way out in front, and my guitar was just sort of like the whole guitar, you know, in the background. And I was somewhere in the middle, so that all you heard were his arrangements, which for the first song were just not right. They weren't in the right key, or something was wrong, I don't know. They were harmony lines, so you have this dominant orchestra, this big orchestra, and this girl sitting there sort of silent mouthing on the screen. That was the first awful thing. And then they had on John Diefenbaker, and he talked mostly about how winter was like a buffalo's breath. And how they'd named a river after him in Saskatchewan, and he was very proud. Diefenbaker Creek up there, 400 miles north of Prince Albert. Then I came on, you see, introducing for the new year the theme song of a public affairs program called The Way It Is. And, I know another thing I did that was really terrible. They said, gee, we hear you're from Fort Macleod, Alberta, Joni. And I said, no, actually, I'm from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And he said, oh. And, well, where would you, we're really glad you're here this New Year's Eve, and where would you rather be? And I said, if in Florida. Here I was beginning the new year, Canadian, and I didn't say anything, really Canadian, like I'd rather be in Moose Jaw, sir. And then to top it all off, one of the arrangements he had written for 4/4, whereas I was actually playing in 3/4. And that time they mixed us equally. And then to make matters worse, when I introduced the song called The Way It Is, they ran the rehearsal take, so there I was on national television on New Year's Eve saying, hey, we better take that one over again.
Singer making a song. Shattered galleons spilled across the ocean floor. Treasure somewhere in the sea, and he will find where. Never mind their questions, there's no answer for. The roll of the harp will wake the songs that the rigging makes. The taste of the spray he takes, and he learns to give. He aches and he learns to live. He stakes all his silver on a promise to be free. Mermaids live in colonies. All his sea dreams come to me. City Saturns left at home, I will not need them. I believe him when he tells of loving me. Something truthful in the sea, or lies will find you. Leave behind your streaks, he said, and come to me. Come down from the neon nights, come down from the tourist sites, run down till the rain delights you. You do not hide. Sunlight will renew your pride. Skin white by skin gold, dolphins playing in the sea. All these sea dreams come to me. Seabird, I have seen you fly above the pilings. I am smiling at your circles in the air. I will come and sit by you while he lies sleeping. Fold your fleet wings, I have brought some dreams to share. A dream that you love someone, a dream that the wars are done, a dream that you tell no one but the grey sea. They'll say that you're crazy, and a dream of a baby, like a promise to be free. Children laughing out to sea. All these sea dreams come to me. All these sea dreams come to me.
I'd like to close my set now with a song about a couple of sides to a couple of things. It's called From Both Sides Now, or Dave Van Rock calls it Clouds.
hours. I've looked at life that way.